All right, guys, just officially finished week 6 of the program I'm calling the Big SuperTotal Forever program. The reason why I'm calling it that is it's not a 1 rep max program specifically. So we're focusing on building muscle mass and general strength, mostly in the kind of 5 to 8 rep range. But in general, it's general strength. So that's the kind of the big component. It's not just peaking, it's really building a base and building bigger, stronger muscles. But it is a super total program, so I'm focusing on improving the snatch, clean and jerk, squat, bench, and deadlift. And I call it the Forever program because it's not designed to specifically like build and peak. It's something I can run year round, and then anytime I want to compete in a powerlifting meet, a weightlifting meet, I can just design a peaking block and peak and taper for that type of competition, and then run this program in between. So the Big SuperTotal Forever program, and a bit of a mouthful, just finished the week 6. There are a few tweaks I'm going to be making, but for the most part, really liking it with my squat, bench press, deadlift, snatch. The only caveat is the clean and jerk. Right now, as it's written, I have a heavy, medium clean and jerk day, and then a light, every minute on the minute clean and jerk day. And the challenge with that is where I have the heavy clean and jerk day, I find that my body's pretty beat up, or just fatigued, not really beat up, but when I'm supposed to do it. So I keep kind of putting that one off. And then the every minute on the minute is just a bit too short of a period of time for a movement like the clean and jerk, at least for what I like from it. Whereas the snatch seems to respond really well to that. So I'm gonna rework my clean and jerk this upcoming week and into the program and how I want to modify it. So going to be kind of doing a Big SuperTotal Forever 2.0 going into this next week, but really excited for how things have been going. Started off day 1 here with a bit of a snatch complex that you can see, and this was super light, so kind of move on from there. And this is a primer, and this is designed to focus on full extension of the legs and the hips. So I do a muscle snatch with some high hip hang snatches, and those felt pretty smooth. Got up to 180 here, and these felt pretty solid. So just kind of working my way up, and I use these as a primer so that I can prepare for my main snatch of the day, which is going to be medium to heavy doubles. Went up just a little bit here, back to from 180 to 185. Because I've found that for these primers, I have a really nice sweet spot right now that's basically between 170 and 185. 190 is pushing it a little bit, so I want to get better at this load, this percentage, and just get it feeling smoother and smoother and smoother. And I'm not super aggressive with progressing this one. Because it's a primer, I'm really just focusing on having it carry over to the main movements, and so I just want to slowly improve the amount of work that I do there, so that I'm just generally getting stronger, but really prioritizing that technique. Here was my first set of regular snatches, and they felt a little bit awkward, as they typically do when I go right from my primer to the main movements. So did the first one, the second one just felt off. I caught with my hips too far back, so I decided to just do it for another one. It wasn't too heavy, so I just really wanted to leave it feeling confident before going up into a little bit heavier weight. So that was 205. This was then going to be, I believe, 210 or 215. And these felt quite a bit smoother. So these are feeling really good. I've been kind of ramping these up week after week, and finding that sweet spot, finding like the correct attempts for me to go for. So I've been happy with that. This is 225 here for a double. And the goal is, as I kind of run this program, I'm really just building momentum and not really knocking on the door of any new territory quite yet, just building a good base, consistency with everything. But I'll definitely be knocking on the door of some new territories when I'm doing doubles with 240 to 250. I know that once I'm doing doubles with 240 to 250, that my 1 rep max is going to be there. So uh, basically, that's how long I'm going to be running SuperTotal Forever, big SuperTotal Forever. It's just chipping away at it until I see indicators that I'm hitting, 2 rep maxes, 5 rep maxes on some of these big movements, and I know that I'm in a good place to go for a PR. So got here up to 230, which has kind of matched my double over the last several weeks, but I'm building up a base there, and these felt pretty solid. So these are the most crisp that 230 for 2 has felt over these weeks, and that's kind of the main goal there. From there, moved on to some front squats. These were a medium front squat day, so I was going to be building up to something, a little bit more moderately heavy. And front squats, back squats, they've all been feeling really, really good lately, so I'm really liking my approach overall, and making sure I'm prioritizing recovery and just very small, conservative jumps and progressions. I like to start a lot of training blocks where I know I have room to grow and progress, and so it's like, don't start at your limit. What you do is you start below your limit, and then you build momentum week after week until you surpass your limit, but you surpass it in a way that doesn't feel like you're hitting your limit anytime soon. So that's the goal right now. And same thing with these front squats. Like, once I start getting back into, mid 300s for reps and sets, that's when I know I'm going to be in a new territory to hit some new 1 rep maxes on a front squat. I haven't gone for a new 1 rep max on a front squat, honestly, in years. So I'm really, really excited to build up my 3 rep and my 5 rep max on it first, and then attempt. But once I get into that 330 to 380 range for reps and sets, then I know I'll be ready for a new PR, and that's going to be 415, 425. I think my best front squat is about 425 with a belt and knee sleeves, whereas right now I'm doing it without any belt or sleeves. So from there, moved on to Spoto press, and Spoto press has been going the absolute best. Bench press in general has been going really, really solid. So really happy with the base I'm building here, and I wasn't really going up to peak weight this week because I'd done that a couple weeks prior. This time it was all about reps, and felt super solid with the control that I had with these sets and reps. So that was the first set, 320, and we've got 325 here. Boom, banging it out. Felt pretty good. So really happy with where this is going. Same thing for this. I am doing a little bit heavier with my regular bench later in the week, so I'll probably be chipping away at some 1 rep max work there, but not really the priority. Just I like to do singles with bench press. I'm really going to be pushing the sets and reps with Spoto and with regular bench press. One thing I want to help people get across here is that there's nothing wrong with odd numbers to go for, especially if you're tracking your progression. I love doing sets of 7 every once in a while. People do 5s, which is an odd number. People do 15, which is an odd number. But people tend to skip numbers, and people do 3s. But people tend to skip numbers like 4, and which is not an odd number, but they skip 4, they skip 7, they skip 9. These are great numbers to really make sure that you're progressing through to new territories. After that top set, did a back off set here, 315, and again, it was an odd number kind of day, so I think this one was like a set of 7 to finish off the day. But really, really solid with this volume. Every working set was in the 315 plus range for over 6 reps, 6 to 8, I think. So really happy with that. And then had to run, was a little bit short on time, so finished that workout, and then just came back later to get a couple accessories in. So got some chin-ups in here. These are feeling pretty good. Actually just subbed them for some rows instead. So haven't really been doing chin-ups. I've been doing barbell weighted pull-ups more so, and barbell rows, and pendlay rows. So was happy with how these went overall. Then we've got the Nordic leg curl. So right now I'm rocking 25 degrees on these, and they felt pretty good. They feel way harder than they look, if I'm being honest. So every time I look at these, I'm like, man, they kind of look easy. But these are very challenging to maintain the right posture, where you're holding your ribs down, keeping your abs tight, and keeping your hips underneath you with your glutes, and not letting them just kick back. So slowly building away at these, getting a couple more reps each and every time I do them. And my goal is to get these down to 0 degrees. So I'm at that 25 degrees right now. But every 5 degrees is a pretty big difference. And right now I'm like a 209 pounds body weight. So this is pretty challenging to get down to 0% at over 200 pounds. But I'm going to be getting leaner over the next several weeks and months. So that's going to help with this as well. But on to day 2, and we've got some sumo deadlifts today. And these went surprisingly well. Like the first workout of the week went decent. But from here, I just started building momentum. Like day 2, 3, and 4 just felt really, really incredible. So this is just a warm-up set, but it felt pretty decent. But as I warmed up more and more, I knew that I was into a new territory with some weights, which was pretty happy. Again, not PR territory. I'm really just doing like a linear progression where I'm kind of picking a nice load, reps and sets, adding between 20 and 50 pounds to the previous week and trying to build on it and going auto-regulated based off of intensity. But as I was building up, again, these felt really, really smooth. And I like to do a strategy where I do pick different weights to warm up with. And I think that really helps the body not get too accustomed to like needing to start at a certain weight. And it's just a nice way to chip away at a little bit of different volume. So this was the set that I knew that things were going quite a bit smoother than I expected. It felt super, super light still. And so I just kind of paused a little bit at the end to kind of hold for a moment, not do a touch and go, and then go for it. This was supposed to be my last set, but this would beat the previous week already. But again, this went really well, so I went up a little bit afterwards. But just felt like I was really doing a good job wedging today, and felt really connected to the glutes, the legs, and the weight just felt really, 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 really weightless. I think this was like 440 something, and I was really surprised with just how smooth it felt. So I knew I was going to go up one more set, but this one I was going to do a little bit conservative. So I threw another 20 kilos on there, which put me at like 484 pounds, and I wasn't going to go quite to failure. So the rep range, I think, was like 4 to 6, and so I decided, okay, I'm probably just going to go for 4 on this one. So because I was beating the previous week by like 70 pounds, I left a little bit in the tank because hopefully I'll be able to do the same thing next week. But really, really happy with that. Moved on to light low bar squats. So this is my light low bar squat day, and it's really just designed to keep the mobility of my shoulders and chest in check, grease the groove of the movement, but not load up, my body too much, really. Keeping my knees happy, keeping my hips and everything happy. So that was just a quick 154 warm up. Didn't need to do a lot of reps and sets, or a lot of reps with that, because I just did a bunch of deadlifts. So I'm just getting the nervous system prepped for each and every weight. Boom, up to 264, moving super smooth. And then we got up to 330. Eventually, I'm gonna cap this at about 65% of my best competition squat, which is 628 pounds. But right now we're just kind of slowly adding a little bit of loads each week, and then 65% will be the cap. That felt really good. So normally I'm supposed to just do 3 sets of 2 with this one, but I'm kind of just not counting the first set for this day because it felt really good, and I wanted to do one more double here at 330. And these felt super strong. So I'm liking this a little bit more posterior chain low bar squat technique that I've been trying, and it feels really, really strong. So I'm excited about actually having this on one of my heavy squat days. All right, moved on from there, and then we're going into some regular bench press. And like I said, day 2 was where that momentum started getting built, but day 3 is really where things were kicking off. Felt super strong. This was actually just a warm-up set of 6 because my main work this day is going to be sets of 1 to 4. So it's my kind of like heavy squat day. So it went 315. That flew. I did 6. I probably could have done 10 or 12. And then this was 370, which I did for 3. And I don't quite think this is a PR, but it's really close, and it felt really smooth. From there, I bumped up to 395, and the hardest part, honestly, was just unracking it. My hands slid a little bit, so my arms were a bit too short, but it moved super well. Let's watch that one again. That's 395, which is about, I don't know, 90-something% of my max, and boom, super good control. I might have been able to do it for a double that day, which would have been a PR, but leaving a little bit in the tank, that's really what I like to do. From there, I did a bunch of sets at 355 for 4, and this might have been my most like productive bench press session that I've done before. So that 370 for 3, 395 for 1, 355 for 4 here, and then another set of 355 for 4 here, and this felt really smooth as well, and it just felt like I had complete control over it. Even if I kind of misgroove it, there was no doubt that these were going to be moving. So went really well. Boom, and then another set of 4 here. So setup felt good. Really happy with this strength, raw strength. No wraps, no wrist wrap, no elbow wrap or anything. Just feeling really strong with my raw strength right now, with my pressing especially. So misgrooved that one a little bit, and but finished strong either way. Moved on from there to some high bar squats, and this is supposed to be my kind of like more heavier day of the week. Again, a bit of still being a bit conservative, but these felt really good, and I was able to beat the last time I did these across the board. And again, I'm really preferring squatting right now in my flat shoes over my squat shoes, ironically, but they just feel a lot smoother. I can press a lot better through my quads and glutes, and not really having any issues of it feeling like it's adding fatigue to my knees that I need to kind of work around or anything. So really happy there. This was 375, moving well. A lot of the times what I'll do is I'll look at what I did recently, and I'll try to beat it by 1 rep or by 5 or 10 pounds. So I was adding a rep to these. Last time I did 374 in my garage, so these went super well. So well, in fact, that I bumped it up again, up to, I think, and these went pretty smooth. I knew I was going to get these for a smooth double. Probably could have done a little bit more, but again, I would like to keep these conservative. It's already beat what I did before, and I want to make sure I can keep beating what I've done before. From there, moved on to some weighted pull-ups, and weighted pull-ups have been going really well. Like I said, I'm getting a little bit lighter, a little bit leaner, but I'm making sure that when I add weight to these, I account for what my body weight is that day, and I try to add a little bit extra weight to that. So this is I'm weighing around 209 pounds here, and I added, I think this is a 25 and a 10, so 35 pounds. It felt pretty solid. Moved on to more accessories, and then this was a bit of a challenging day. So I had those days that went super well, and then fatigue caught up a little bit. I had a rough night of sleep, and I knew it was going to be a little bit more challenging. So worked up to some banded deadlifts, held off on the snatches that I was supposed to do today, and postponed those to the next day. But went back to my purple band. The previous week I did the green band, and it's just a bit too much, but I noticed that these are definitely adding a lot of fatigue to the lower back, but the lower back's recovering quite a bit in between, so therefore my lower back's just keep getting stronger and stronger. And the whole point of banded deadlifts for me are a way to cap the intensity. So I get conventional deadlift work, train the hamstrings, glutes, lower back, but it's forcing me to not use quite as much weight, so that the next time I come around, I have a little bit more recovery and I can lift really heavy. So we'll see how conventional deadlifts go the next time I do them, but I think the banded deadlifts are going to be paying off. Moved on to some front squats, and this is my light front squat day. We'll just skip this one because it was a bit blurry, but this was a warm-up, felt pretty light and easy. then moved on to a little bit heavier. And again, it's a light front squat day, so I'm really conservative with my progression here because I just want to go through the technique. But pause squats felt really, really good. And I think this was about 250 and felt pretty smooth. So did this for 2 sets of 2. And it felt just super locked in. So happy with the technique, happy with the strength overall. Final day of the week, and we're moving on to some every minute on the minute banded bench press. And I knew I overshot a little bit last week, so this week it was all about finding the right intensity. And you can see here I kind of threaded the needle and found the right work there. So was able to get all of my triples here, but still had to go down a little bit in weight near the end. The last couple of sets, it just kind of took 5 pounds off, 5 pounds off. But obviously you can see here with this set, it was the perfect choice because good speed, good work, but you can see that right when those bands really kick in, those triceps had to fight. So really, really solid here. And with the banded bench, I know it's really about finding the right intensity each week, and I know the weights are going to keep going up, so really, really solid. All right, from there, move to some snatch primers, getting ready for some snatches for the day. Going to be doing some every minute on the minute snatches, and these are some snatch high pulls to some muscle snatches, and these are feeling good. I'm getting these stronger and stronger. They're feeling more and more consistent. I'm just slowly chipping away. Like this was 105. I've been started at 45, started at 95, started at 100. Now I'm starting at 95, 105. So feeling pretty good here. Moved on to some hip power snatches and some hip full snatches. And that one got a little bit away from me, so I decided to kind of do like a no foot on this one, and that felt way better. So I'm gonna keep sticking with the no foot, especially with these primers, because they just seem to feel so much smoother. All right, bumping up the primer a little bit. Boom, some snatch high pulls, 155 here, and these are feeling really snappy. All about kind of finding the right bar path and getting that good extension. So power snatches felt good, hip, boom, and then some hip full snatches. Caught that one a little bit back behind me, settled, cleaned it up for the second one. So happy with that. All right, starting to get a little heavier with the primer. This is where we start threading the needle, making sure we're picking the right loads for the day. I want to make sure that this doesn't gas me too much. I want to make sure my technique is still where I want it. And so if I go too heavy, I'll start muscling it around, even though it's a muscle snatch and stuff, but start kind of getting a little ugly with the technique. So still happy with this one overall, and it was set me up well for the day. And actually was able to get up to 190, which I think if you remember earlier, that's kind of that territory where I was saying that some of the 190s might be a little bit out of the range, and I can do more work with the 75 to 85, but got up to 190, so I was really, really happy with that. And then moved on to my snatches every minute on the minute. Did 6 snatches. This is the last snatch here. Anytime I'm doing my every minute on the minute work, whether it's snatches, bench press, deadlifts, or clean and jerks, I just typically start the timer every minute on the minute, and then I'll record the last set. So this was my last single here at 220. So 220 being the light work is pretty solid. So really happy with that. But then we moved on to some clean and jerks, and this is why I said I'm going to kind of rework where my clean and jerks are at in the program, because every minute on the minute is just not working, and then where they're set up earlier is just not really a great fit. So these went horribly. This was like I got up to this, made the wrong weight selections, bar got in the wrong spot, and I was about to pass out. So I called it there for the clean and jerks and decided, okay, I'm gonna rework these a little bit, and I'll find a better way to train them with the big SuperTotal Forever program. But I still wanted to get some work in. I just wanted to let my lower body recover a little bit. So I moved on to just split jerks from the rack instead of the full clean and jerk with no time constraints. And was really happy with these. Got up to 315 here. Felt pretty good. Racked that. And then got up to 340, which is not quite a PR, but was really happy with attempt selection, because this is pretty close to my 1 rep max, and what, not too bad. So didn't want to re-rack it because that's a lot of weight to come back down, so I just took it to the floor. So overall, super successful week. Really happy with the way training went, and excited for next week. Going to be reworking that clean and jerk a little bit, and I do have a little vacation coming up at the end of the week. So I'm going to try to modify a couple things, get that work in early on in the week, and then make sure to finish strong on that vacation as well. So excited for the next one. See you guys then.